Hi, I'm Matthew Harbour. I'm Resource Agronomist with TruePoint Cooperative, and I'm here this afternoon to talk with you about Season Max, an exciting new polymer that we have available to protect your phosphorus and better feed your crop. Did you know that most of the phosphorus fertilizer that you apply this year will not actually feed your crop? Estimates are that only 5 to 25% of the phosphorus that you apply will feed next year's crop. The remainder of it will form insoluble compounds with different soil elements. These compounds will fall out of the soil solution and not feed your crop for many years to come. In our mind, this is the equivalent of making an interest-free loan to your soil. Say that you spend $70 per acre on phosphorus, and that 90% of that phosphorus is unavailable to feed next year's crop. Then for a 100-acre field, you've just made a $6,300 interest-free loan to your soil. Why does this happen? Well, the problem is that phosphorus that enters the soil has a strong negative charge on it, and when it interacts with calcium, iron, aluminum, and other positively charged elements in the soil, it forms insoluble phosphates that drop out of the soil solution. Season Max has its own negative charge. When Season Max is placed with phosphorus fertilizer, Season Max intercepts these positively charged elements and binds them, keeping them away from phosphorus and keeping phosphorus free to feed the plant. Season Max has its own negative charge that allows it to interact with positively charged soil elements before they can interact with phosphorus and cause it to become insoluble. And now my colleague Brian Schulte will explain to you how Season Max works in a demonstration.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Schulte and I'm with TruePoint Cooperative. Today I'll be demonstrating with you how you can protect your phosphorus from getting tied up in your soils. In front of me I have 3 bottles, a check, the competitor's product, and our in-house Season Max product. I currently have the bottles half full of a negatively charged ion to represent phosphorus. I now will add the treatments to the bottles. First, I will add the competitor's product by adding 8 drops into the solution. I will then shake the bottle to make sure the polymer and ion are mixed up well. I now will add our Season Max product into the solution by adding 8 drops too. Also shake this bottle as well. After I have applied the treatments, I now will add calcium chloride to the bottles to represent what happens to phosphorus when we apply it to the soil. I will too shake these bottles. As you may know, phosphorus is a strongly negatively charged ion, and when applied to your soil, it is attracted to positively charged ions in the soil, such as calcium, zinc, manganese, and iron. Being attracted to positively charged ions, it creates solids. As you can see in the check, it is very cloudy and thick, representing all the solids that are created by phosphorus binding up with the positively charged ions in the soil. As you can see with the competitor's product, it too remains very cloudy and very thick, therefore representing most of its phosphorus is tied up as well with the positively charged ions. Then by looking at this Season Max bottle, you can see how clear it remains. By protecting your fertilizer with Season Max, we can stop phosphorus from tying up with the positively charged ions, therefore leaving phosphorus protected and therefore readily available for your plant's uptake.
Season Max can be used with any crop. One crop that responds particularly well to Season Max is wheat. Did you know that wheat requires a higher soil test level for phosphorus than even corn? The reason for this is that wheat needs to establish itself strongly in the fall, and this requires a good root system. Roots depend on phosphorus for development. Unfortunately, at the same time wheat is establishing itself, cold soils are starting to limit root growth, and dry soils are starting to limit diffusion of phosphorus towards the plant. The result is that the plant needs to be able to use any phosphorus that's nearby, and Season Max helps to ensure that the phosphorus that the plant does intercept is dissolved and able to feed it right away. In research conducted by TruePoint in Indiana, we can see that the addition of Season Max to monoammonium phosphate increased crop yields by up to 20 bushels. We also see that Season Max helped to reduce the grain moisture of the crop by approximately 2 points. The reason for this is that phosphorus drives plant maturity, and the more phosphorus is available, the quicker the plant will mature and have time to dry down. Season Max can also improve nutrition in corn. In a study conducted in 2010 near Wapakoneta, Ohio, Season Max was added to 624-6 in-furrow fertilizer. We can see the results of Season Max compared with the Avail product and a check. Nitrogen tissue concentrations, indicated by the maroon line, grew with Season Max. So did phosphorus content and potassium content. All were greater with Season Max than with Avail or with the check. Season Max also helped to protect the micronutrients that would otherwise bind with phosphorus and be unavailable to feed the plant. We can see that zinc, indicated by the yellow line, was higher with Season Max than with either Avail or with the check. Similarly, manganese was higher with Season Max than either Avail or the check. These micronutrients were then available to feed the plant and improve nutrition. In 2010, we experienced dry weather near Wapakoneta that capped corn yields. Even in these conditions, however, Season Max helped to improve yields. This yield increase was about 5.5 bushels compared to our check. Note that Avail only produced a 0.6 bushel yield gain compared to the check. Given the 2010 corn price of about $5.50, the advantage with Season Max equated to about a $25 return on investment compared to a negative return on investment when the Avail technology was used. We saw a similar response to Season Max in corn in 2011. In the middle you can see 1034.0 that had Season Max added to it. On the left you see 1034.0 without Season Max. You can see that 2.5 weeks after planting, we had a significant difference in plant size where the Season Max was added to the 1034.0. Tissue tests taken about the same time showed a phosphorus tissue advantage when 1034.0 was mixed with Season Max compared with 1034.0 applied by itself. Earlier, we learned that phosphorus drives plant development. So not only did we see an increase in ear size when we applied 1034.0 with Season Max, but we also saw ears that were better developed than the ears treated with 1034.0 with no Season Max. In 2011, the advantage of adding Season Max to 1034.0 was about 20 bushels per acre. Season Max may be used to treat either liquid or dry fertilizer. Season Max LFS is added to liquid fertilizer at a rate of 1% or 1 gallon per 100 gallons fertilizer. Season Max DF is added to dry fertilizer at a rate that varies between 3 and 4 quarts per ton depending on the amount of phosphorus to be applied.